Patient X is female, 65 years old, a retired teacher with a body weight of 118 pounds or 53.64 kg and a height of 5 feet and 3 inches or 160.02 centimeter. Nutrition status is normal. DBW is 54 kg or 115 pounds and TER is 1,500 kcal.
The nutritional goals for the patient are as follows. Maintain a healthy weight, limit portion size to control calorie intake, eat healthy snacks, be physically active, and eat foods that have a lot of nutrients but not a lot of calories.
In our clinical assessment, it was displayed that patient X has a BMI of 20.95 kg per meter square, making her BMI status normal.
For plan of treatment, create a diet plan that fulfills the patient's daily needs and requirements. Prepare meals high in omega-3 fatty acids, rich in calcium, iron, vitamin C, D, and B12, potassium, and magnesium, and incorporate light exercise to daily routine.
Common conditions in older age include back and neck pain, osteoarthritis, heart disease, balance issues, and oral health problems.
What to monitor on patient X? You should monitor the patient's desirable body weight, the patient's total calorie intake, and the patient's eating habits and food quality consumed. The body mass index of the patient is calculated first by getting the patient's height in meters, which is 1.6 meters. Then squaring it, we will get 2.56 meters squared. We then take their weight in kilograms and divide it with the product. So it will be 53.64 kilograms over 2.56 meters squared. And the result is 20.95 kilograms per meter squared, which is the BMI of the patient.
To determine the desirable body weight of the patient who stands 5'3" tall using the 10-Hauser method, first step is to convert height to centimeter, then deduct the height of the factor 100, and then deduct additional 10% to adjust the body frame for Filipinos.
In TER, we have the Harris-Benedict energy expenditure computation, where the formula is BMR is equals to 655.1 plus 9.563 times weight plus 1.850 times height, then minus 4.676 times age. By using this formula, since our patient is female and for her weight, we use of the actual weight that is determined by her profession, which she's a teacher. Then starting to computing her TER using HBEE. First is to multiply the constant number to her actual weight, to her actual height, and to her actual age. After multiplying her weight, height, and age, continue to compute by adding them all and subtract it in the end, especially the age part, to get the BMR. For getting her TER, the formula for this is BMR times PAL. So given the number for BMR is 1160.16 kcal per day, multiply to 1.30, which is her physical activity level is sedentary, for she is retired.
We presume that allotting 65% of carbohydrate intake can adequately supply the patient's body need of energy, based around the idea of the patient's physical activity level of sedentary, which implies the patient is mostly resting with little or no activity, and also considering that the BMI of the patient is in normal range. Presumptively, 15% of protein is enough or adequate for patient X, stated that the patient is 65 years old. Protein-rich foods are needed to help the patient maintain muscle mass and strength, as bone health in the elderly can deteriorate as they age. Designating 20% of fat is appropriate for the patient, bearing in mind that there should be a limit of fat intake, especially saturated fats. Fat is as much as possible be included for the daily calorie of a patient. To get the water requirement, a patient's body weight is multiplied by 25 ml per kilogram, which is a specific amount for elderly. The answer is 1,341 ml, which is too low for the water intake of an elderly female. The water requirement for female ages 60 to 69 years old is 1,610 ml.
For the food exchange computation, we can now decide how to get the equal number of carbohydrates, protein, fat, and calories. We have decided to put 5 exchanges of vegetables and fruit, 1 exchange of low-fat milk and sugar, totaling the carbohydrate partial sum to 82, then deducted by 240, becoming 158, then divided by 23, which equals to 7 number of rice exchanges. We then place 2 exchanges for rice A, 4 exchanges for rice B, and 1 exchange for rice C. Moving on to protein, the total protein partial sum is 25, then deducted by 60, becoming 35, then divided by 8, which equals to 4 number of meat exchanges. We then place 2 exchanges to both low and medium fat meat. Moving towards fat, the total fat partial sum is 19, then deducted by 30, becoming 11, then divided by 5, which equals to 2 numbers of fat exchanges. We then place 2 exchanges on fat. After computing everything, the total number for carbohydrates we have is 243 grams. For protein is 57 grams. For fat is 29 grams. And for the calories is 1,461 kilocalories.
For the exchange distribution, the number of exchanges for each food item has been properly distributed as seen in the table to make sure that the patient will not be hungry and at the same time so that the patient will have enough energy to be utilized throughout the day.
This is the one-day meal for the patient that will be prepared. For breakfast, we have cauliflower, ripe pico mango, sweet potato, bread sweet roll, and chicken breast. For AM snacks, we have cucumber and banana. Lunch comprises of boiled carrots, boiled green long bean pod, undermilled rice, prune, greasy back shrimp, and butter. For PM snacks, we have boiled yellow sweet potato and red apple. For dinner, it comprises of eggplant, ripe Manila super mango, boiled well-milled rice, chicken thigh, and corn oil. Lastly, for bedtime snacks, we have pear and low-fat cow's milk.
For the food composition table, the first step is to list all the food items and then input their household measurements and EP weight in grams, which can be found in the food exchange list. Also, input EP weight in percentage and the data of the macronutrients such as CHON and fat, which can be found in the food composition table. To determine the AP weight in grams of each food item, divide EP weight in grams by its corresponding EP weight in percentage. And to determine the total amounts of CHON and fat in this meal, the formula is to multiply the given data of the macronutrients by its corresponding EP weight in grams, and then get the sum of the results, then multiply CHO and CHON by 4 and fat by 9, and the answer should be divisible by 5. To get its percentages, divide CHO kcal, CHON kcal, and fat kcal by the total energy, which is the sum of CHO kcal, CHON kcal, and fat kcal. The total energy and the percentages of the macronutrients should be divisible by 10. For the second and third table, input the water, ash, dietary fiber, minerals, and vitamins of each food item, which can be found also in the food composition table. Use the same formula, which is multiply the given data by its corresponding EP weight in grams, then get the sum of the results. Also, convert micrograms and milligrams to grams before any computations. So before you turn on the burner, make sure to set out and prepare all the ingredients. In a small pot of boiling water, cook the florets for 6 to 8 minutes and then drain and sprinkle with salt and pepper. Place the seasoned chicken breast into the pan over medium heat and cook until edges are opaque, about 10 minutes. Flip to the other side and cook for another 10 minutes. In a small pot of boiling water, cook the sweet potato for 20 to 25 minutes until tender, and then drain and cut into cubes. Cauliflower cooks for 6 to 8 minutes at 100 degrees Celsius, sweet potato for 20 to 25 minutes at 94 degrees Celsius, and chicken breast for 20 minutes at 74 degrees Celsius. For cauliflower and sweet potato, the cooking method used for these are boiling, and the cooking method used for chicken breast is frying. The carbohydrates present in this meal are cauliflower, mango pico ripe, sweet potato, and bread sweet roll. The proteins present in this meal are cauliflower, bread sweet roll, and chicken breast. And the fat present in this meal is chicken breast only. The total water content of this meal is 178.59 ml. Sweet potato contributes the highest number of water, which has 58.31 ml, and the food that has the least water content is the bread sweet roll with only 8.51 ml. The water content of cauliflower is 41.90 ml, mango pico ripe is 47.94 ml, sweet potato is 58.31 ml, bread sweet roll is 8.51 ml, and the water content of chicken breast is 21.93 ml. This meal prevents dental problems because it has calcium, which helps harden our enamel and strengthen our jawbone. It also has potassium that works with magnesium to prevent blood from becoming too acidic, which can leach calcium from our bones and teeth. It also has phosphorus, which supports calcium in building strong bones and teeth. The minerals found in cauliflower are calcium, iron, potassium, and magnesium. The minerals found in mango pico ripe are calcium, iron, and zinc. The minerals found in sweet potato are calcium, iron, zinc, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus, and selenium. The minerals found in bread sweet roll are calcium, iron, and sodium. Lastly, the minerals found in chicken breast are calcium, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus, and selenium. The food items in this meal are packed with vitamins and minerals. Moreover, cauliflower, mango pico ripe, and sweet potato contains high amounts of vitamin C, which acts as an antioxidant and boosts our immune system. Also, chicken breast is a good source of vitamin D that is necessary for the proper functioning of our immune system.
In this food composition table, this is based on the Philippine food composition tables in the year of 1997. We get the household measure and AP weight from the food exchange list tables, while getting for the EP weight, jaw, chone, and fat, and the rest are coming from this table. In getting their values, calculate their specific category and it's their formula to get the value. For computing the percentage for jaw and chone are 4, and then for fat is 9. First, slice the cucumber on each side's end. Start to slice the cucumber into pieces. Get 1/2 cup to fill in with the cucumber and put it onto the small bowl. Put apple cider in 1/2 cup and pour it a little bit on small bowl with cucumber in it, then mix it. Done. Set aside the cucumber in the plate and clean the chopping board. Get the banana, then start to slice up into half pieces and put it on the plate. Done. For the proper time and temperature, I spent 3 minutes and a quarter seconds making both vegetable and fruit. For temperature, must be in a moderate temperature, 190 degrees Celsius, not in the cold or hot temperatures, because the food like banana will go mush, and the color brown appear, while the cucumber with the apple cider will take 3 days, that is still fresh, but the longer days, the cucumber's crispness will lose and it will become limp. For cooking method, I use none because I only use a knife to slice them. In carbohydrates, it has only cucumber with apple cider and banana. The process of digestion involved in this are mouth, stomach, small intestine, and colon. While for protein, it has only the raw sliced cucumber. The process of digestion involved in this are digestion in the mouth, in the stomach, and in the digestion and absorption in the small intestine. The total of water content is 5.33 ounces because cucumbers are made up almost entirely of water and also provide a small amount of some nutrients such as vitamin K, potassium, and magnesium. While for the bananas, because they are a source of fiber, potassium, vitamin B6, vitamin C, and various antioxidants and phytonutrients. Cucumbers are high in fiber because they are crunchy, can actually scrub their teeth, and chewing on this food will produce saliva to help wash away any bad bacteria in their mouth. For bananas, have full of vitamins like vitamin C and vitamin B6, as well as the fiber, and it can help strengthen tooth enamel. Minerals found in water content for cucumber is potassium, magnesium, and vitamin K. While for banana, the minerals found in water content of that fruit are potassium, fiber, vitamin B6, and C. Cucumbers have good sources of phytonutrients, which are plant chemicals that have protective or disease-preventive properties such as flavonoids, lignin, and triterpenes, which have antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and anti-cancer benefits. For bananas, are excellent source of potassium and supply vitamin B6, fiber and carbohydrates, and some vitamin C, because they are loaded with valuable micronutrients, especially potassium, where it is one of the most important electrolytes in the body, helping to regulate heart function, and also the fluid balance, where it is an essential part in regulating blood pressure.
For the food composition table, list out all the food items and get the household measurement and AP weight in the food exchange list, while the AP weight percentage can be found in the food composition table. To get the AP weight, the formula is to multiply AP weight to its corresponding AP weight percentage. The value of the macronutrients such as chachan and fat can be found in the food composition table as well. The formula is to multiply the EP weight with the corresponding value of the macronutrients, then it will be divided to 100. Example, carrots has a household measurement of 1 cup with an EP weight of 45 gram and the EP weight percentage is 100%. By looking at the percentage, we can conclude that the EP weight is 45 grams also. Carrots has 8.6 grams of carbohydrates. By applying the formula stated earlier, we get 3.87 grams. After getting all the value, we can now total it and multiply the carbohydrates and protein with 4 and fat with 9. Then total it to get the total energy. To get the percentage of each macronutrients, in particular we have carbohydrates kcal, it will be divided to the total energy and multiply it by 100. Prepare the carrots in string long beans. Washed and peel the carrots. Cut the carrots as well as the string long beans according to the size preference. Place it on the steamer. Put the lid on and steam it for 6 to 8 minutes. The steamed carrots and string long beans. Prepare the brown rice. Rinse, remove any particles and dirt on the brown rice. Place it in a rice cooker. Put 2.5 cups of water. Turn on the rice cooker and cook it for 40 minutes, the finished product.
First, prepare the ingredients. Mince the garlic. Peel off the shell of the shrimps. Then devein the shrimp. Once the pan is hot enough, put in the 1 teaspoon of butter and then saute the garlic. Then add in the shrimp and season it with salt and pepper and take it out once it's cooked.
For the proper time and temperature, the carrots and string long beans are steamed for about 6 to 8 minutes with a temperature of 100 to 120 degrees Celsius. The brown rice takes about more or less 40 minutes to cook in a rice cooker, and for the sautéed shrimp, it took only 3 minutes to cook in a medium heat temperature. The cooking method used in this lunch meal are steaming, boiling, specifically the method of absorption, and sautéing. Carbohydrate present in this lunch meal are the carrots, string long beans, orange, prunes, and brown rice. The protein present in this lunch meal are the carrots, string long beans, brown rice, and shrimp. And for the fat are the shrimp and the butter. The process of digestion for carbohydrates, protein, and fat will take place since the food items in this lunch meal contains the macronutrients. For the water content of each food items, carrots contain 40.14 ml, string long beans contain 39.15 ml, orange contain 45.85 ml, rice under milk contain 18.65 ml, prune contain 2.9 ml, shrimp contain 32 ml, and for the butter, it only contains 0.8 ml. The total water content of the meal is 179.4 ml, that is 58.31 ounces. Each food items vary in water content. Orange contributes the highest since it contains 45.8 ml, followed by boiled carrots with 40.14 ml. The least is butter with only 0.8 ml. The food items in the lunch meal are packed with vitamins and minerals which can help prevent the occurrence or risk of dental problems. To mention one, eating carrots can help in fighting off the tartar and plaque invasion. The calcium content of string beans helps the teeth strong and healthy. Orange strengthens the conductive tissues around the gums, and the sorbitol content of dried prunes help in maintaining tooth mineral content. The common minerals found in these food items are the calcium, copper, iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium, selenium, sodium, and zinc. Each food items are beneficial during this time of pandemic to keep the immune system strong and healthy. In particular, beta-carotene in carrots are converted to vitamin A. Vitamin A helps the antibodies respond to toxins and viruses. Butter contains vitamin A as well. Both the string long beans and orange contains vitamin C, which is essential to strengthen the immune system.
For the PM Snacks food composition table, most of the values are based in the Philippine food composition table, except for the EP weight, which can be found in the food exchange list. Now we add up all the EP weights for the macronutrients and the micronutrients. For the macronutrients, the total EP weight for each are then multiplied with the respective physiological fuel value, 4 for carbohydrates and protein, and 9 for fats. Now we get their product. And their product, we then total them to get the total energy. Now we have to find their respective percentages. So we divide the kcal over the total energy times 100. Just wash the sweet potato and boil some water. Once boiled, put the sweet potato in. Wait till it gets soft and take it out. Just wash the apple. Peel off the skin. And then slice it. For this meal, it took around 27 to 30 minutes cooking the sweet potato, which includes boiling the water. And the cooking method used is just boiling, which is done to cook the sweet potato. The carbohydrates present in this meal are the sweet potato and the apple. And since there is no protein and fats present, then only the process of digestion of carbohydrates is involved in this meal. Now, the total water content of the meal is 2.97 ounce, and the sweet potato contributed most of the total amount of water since its size is almost thrice of the apple. But naturally, apples contain more water than sweet potatoes. Now, the minerals found in this meal are potassium, calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. While we can also find iron and zinc in sweet potato. This meal helps prevent the patient from acquiring dental problems with the addition of the apple to the meal. Now, the apple reduces the cavity-causing bacteria, which is recommended to be eaten after the meal since it stimulates the function of a toothbrush as it removes plaques trapped between the teeth. Because, as we all know, sweet potato is a starchy food which is considered to be a fermentable carbohydrate, which results the risk of developing dental problems. Now, both the apple and sweet potato have benefits to help the patient fight against the COVID-19 virus. The apple contains antioxidants and vitamin C, and vitamin C helps boost the immune system and help defend the body from infection, while the sweet potato contains beta-carotene, which when converted to vitamin A, it acts as an anti-inflammatory, which helps the antibodies respond to viruses.
In the food composition table, the values for macronutrients and micronutrients are based on the Philippine food composition table. We calculate the respective values for each food item by their EP weight and get the total for chaw, chon, and fat. We then multiply these values by their calorie value, which is 4 for carbohydrate, 4 for protein, and 9 for fat. We then get their percentages by adding the values together and dividing the individual total value with the sum and multiplying it by 100.
Here are the food items that you will use. First step is to boil the chicken thighs. While the chicken is boiling, slice the mango, eggplants, and ginger to the desired size. Once the chicken is cooked, place them in a paper towel and let it cool. Boil water in a large pot. I use 1:8 ratio of water to rice. Stir it so that it won't stick to the bottom and add ginger and salt. While the porridge is cooking, shred the chicken into tiny pieces and set aside. Now that the porridge is cooked, place it into a bowl and add the shredded chicken on top. Cook 1/2 cup of eggplant into 1 teaspoon of oil, and after cooking, place it into a small plate. And here is the final product. Thank you so much.
The dinner meal prepared is rice porridge with chicken shreds, sautéed eggplants, and sliced mango. The proper time and temperature for boiling chicken is 8 to 15 minutes until the chicken will have an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. For the porridge and the eggplant, it should be heated at medium to high heat until it is fully cooked. The cooking method used is boiling of the rice and sautéing of eggplants. The carbohydrate present in the meal is white rice, the protein is chicken thighs, and fat is corn oil. There is a process of digestion of carbohydrates, protein, and fats in the meal. Now there are many minerals present in the meal. Eggplants have magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, copper, and potassium. Mango has iron, calcium, and zinc. Rice has zinc and phosphorus. Chicken has magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, and zinc. And corn oil has calcium, iron, potassium, sodium, and zinc. The water content for eggplant is 1.22 ounce. Mango has 1.91 ounce. Rice has 2.48 ounces. Chicken has 1.11 ounce. And the total water content is 6.73 ounces. Though it also has additional water content from the porridge and the beverage. This meal prevents one from acquiring dental problems because it contains calcium, potassium, phosphorus, which help in regulating the acid in the body and strengthens our teeth and gums. The meal contributes to the prevention of COVID-19 because it contains a lot of nutrients that supply our body and further nourish and strengthens our immune system.
For the FCT measurements, the household measurement of a pear is 1/2 piece, and for my cow's milk is 1 cup. The as purchase weight for a pear is 130 grams, and for cow's milk is 250 grams. The edible portion percentage of a pear is 73%, and for cow's milk is 100%. This edible portion weight for a pear is 94.9 grams, and for cow's milk is 250 grams. The weight of carbohydrates in a pear is 12.6 grams, and for cow's milk is 4.8 grams. The edible portion of a carbohydrate in pear is 11.96 grams, and for cow's milk is 12 grams. The grams of protein in pear is 0.4 grams, and for my cow's milk is 3.3 grams. The edible portion of protein in my pear is at least 0.38 grams, and for my cow's milk is 8.25 grams. The weight of fat in pear is at least 0.6 grams, and for cow's milk is 3.6 grams. The edible portion of fat in pears is 0.57 grams, and for cow's milk is 9 grams. The total edible portion of the carbohydrates, combining my fruit and my milk, is a total of 23.96 grams. For protein, 8.63 grams, and for fat is 9.57 grams. To convert it for energy, our carbohydrates is 23.96 grams times 4, which equates to 95 kilocalories. For protein, 8.63 grams times 4 is 39 kilocalories, and for the fat is 9.57 grams times 9 equals to 85 kilocalories. Dividing the total energy, which is 215 kilocalories, times 100 for our carbohydrates, it's at least 44.19% or 50%. Our protein is 16.28% or 20%. And for fat is 39.53% or 40%. The edible portion of the water in a pear is at least 81.8 grams, and for cow's milk is 218.75 grams, making a total of micronutrients of water to 300.55 grams. The total grams of dietary fiber for pear is 2.7 grams, while for cow's milk is none. The edible portion of the dietary fiber for pears is 2.56 grams, while for cow's milk is none, making a total micronutrients of the dietary fiber is 2.56 grams. For the grams of ash in pear is 0.2 grams. For cow's milk is 0.8 grams. The edible portion of the ash is 0.19 grams, and for cow's milk is 2 grams. Totaling the number of micronutrients of ash is 2.19 grams. For calcium per grams of pear is 0.04 grams, while for cow's milk is 0.14 grams. The edible portion of calcium in pears is 0.04 grams, while for cow's milk is 0.38 grams, totaling 0.42 grams. The grams of phosphorus in pear is 0.01 grams, and for cow's milk is 0.09 grams. The edible portion of phosphorus in pear is 0.01 grams, and for cow's milk is 0.23 grams, totaling 0.24 grams. Hello, this is my video of how to make my bedtime snack. First, we should start by washing the fruit to remove any dirt. Okay, once we are done washing the fruit, then we start slicing the fruit. After we slice our pears, this will be our finishing product. So after we slice our pears, then we put our pears in a bowl, measure it with the electronic weighing scale to get one exchange of pear is equals to at least 95 grams. So we have a current measurement of 96 grams. Okay, since we're now done with our fruit, we will start opening our exactly 1 cup of milk. Okay, so we're going to open this small carton of milk by flipping the sides of it, and we push the top. After you've done it, then we're gonna have to cut it open using scissors or knives. Anything is be fine. So after we open our carton of milk, now we'll just simply pour it onto our glass. And there you have it. This is my preparation of making a bedtime snack. The proper time and temperature of my bedtime snack is that my milk is usually served cold at temperature 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 4.44 degrees Celsius, or even perhaps colder. It's because milk spoils easily if kept at room temperature or at warm temperature. The same goes for fruits such as pear. It should be served at low temperatures, about 32 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. The cooking method used is that this meal is more on slicing. Slicing is a general term that means to cut across the grain into thin, uniform pieces. Almost every fruit and vegetable can be sliced. The carbohydrates present in the bedtime snacks are the pear and low-fat milk. The protein present in the bedtime snacks is the low-fat milk. And the fat present in the bedtime snacks is also in the low-fat milk. The water content of my snack is that the water content of a pear is 81.8 milliliter, and for the milk it's 218.75 milliliter. Totaling the water content of the meal is at least 300.55 milliliters or 10.02 ounces. The micronutrients that are present in this meal for the pear, we have the minerals of potassium, copper, calcium, iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, sodium, and zinc. The water and electrolytes present in this meal for the pear is 81.8 milliliters or 2.73 ounces. For cow's milk is 218.75 milliliter or 7.29 ounces. What makes this meal prevent the PX from acquiring dental problems is that this meal contains a high amount of calcium and some amounts of potassium and phosphorus from the two food items. Milk is particularly helpful in preventing dental problems because just like many dairy products, they contain casein proteins that form a protective film on the surface of your teeth. These proteins protect the hard outer layer of your teeth from decay. Now, how does these food items contribute to COVID-19? For the pear, pears are high in vitamin C and copper, as vitamin C helps combat COVID-19 because it protects cells from oxidative stress, a product of infection and chronic inflammation. Copper is essential for a potent and robust immune system, while for cow's milk, because milk is an excellent source of vitamin D, which can reduce the likelihood of an acute respiratory infection. Consuming milk provides your body with specific immunity against the virus.
The digestion of carbohydrates begins with the salivary amylase in the mouth. It then goes down to the esophagus and to the stomach in the form of bolus. In the stomach, the bolus is broken down a little bit, but there is not much digestion taking place. The stomach produces mucus for lubrication to send the food to the small intestine. Most of the digestion happens in the small intestine. Pancreatic amylase is secreted from the pancreas to the small intestine and breaks down the starch
to oligosaccharides, maltose, and glucose to be absorbed in the body. The indigestible carbohydrates are broken down by enzymes released by bacteria in the large intestine. Lastly, it is defecated through the rectum and to the anus.
So how is protein digested? As a start, we are going to be using our sample food, which is an egg, because egg is one of the main foods high in protein. As a start, the first step in egg digestion involves chewing. The teeth begin the mechanical breakdown of the large egg pieces into smaller pieces that can be swallowed. The salivary glands provide some saliva to aid swallowing and the passage of the partially mashed egg through the esophagus. The mashed egg pieces enter the stomach through the esophageal sphincter. The stomach releases gastric juices containing hydrochloric acid and the enzyme pepsin, which initiate the breakdown of the protein. The acidity of the stomach facilitates the unfolding of the proteins that still retain part of their three-dimensional structure after cooking and helps break down the protein aggregates formed during cooking. Pepsin, which is secreted by the cells that line the stomach, dismantles the protein chain into smaller and smaller fragments. Egg proteins are large globular molecules, and their chemical breakdown requires time and mixing. The powerful mechanical stomach contractions churn the partially digested protein into a more uniform mixture called chyme. Protein digestion in the stomach takes a longer time than carbohydrate digestion, but a shorter time than fat digestion, as eating a high protein meal increases the amount of time required to sufficiently break down the meal in the stomach, and food remains in the stomach longer, making you feel full longer. As the stomach empties the chyme containing the broken down egg pieces into the small intestine, where the majority of the protein digestion occurs, the pancreas secretes digestive juices that contains more enzymes that further break down the protein fragments. The two major pancreatic enzymes that digest proteins are chymotrypsin and trypsin. The cells that line the small intestine releases additional enzymes that finally break apart the smaller protein fragments into the individual amino acids. The muscle contractions of the small intestine mix and propel the digested proteins to the absorption sites. The goal of the digestive process is to break down the protein into dipeptides and amino acids for absorption. In the lower parts of the small intestine, the amino acids are transported from the intestinal lumen through the intestinal cell to the blood. This movement of individual amino acids requires special transport proteins and the cellular energy molecule, adenosine triphosphate. Once the amino acids are in the blood, they are transported to the liver. As with other macronutrients, the liver is the checkpoint for amino acid distribution and any further breakdown of amino acids, which is very minimal. Recall that amino acids contain nitrogen, so further catabolism of amino acids releases nitrogen-containing ammonia. Because ammonia is toxic, the liver transforms it into urea, which is then transported to the kidney and excreted in the urine. Urea is a molecule that contains two nitrogens and is highly soluble in water. This makes it a good choice for transporting excess nitrogen out of the body. Because amino acids are building blocks that the body reserves in order to synthesize other proteins, more than 90% of the protein ingested does not get broken down further than the amino acid monomers. Very little protein makes it to the large intestine if you are not eating excessive amounts. If you have smelly flatulence, this may be a sign you are eating too much protein because the excess is making it to the colon, where your gut microbes are digesting it and producing smelly gas. Essentially, all protein is absorbed as tripeptides, dipeptides, or amino acids, and this process occurs in the duodenum or proximal jejunum of the small intestine. The peptides and or amino acids pass through the interstitial brush border by facilitative diffusion or active transport. Active transport sodium and ATP to actively transport the molecule through the cell membrane. The R group determines the type of transporter used. Once passed through the membrane, the amino acids or peptides are released into the intestinal bloodstream and are transported to the liver by the hepatic portal vein. This is known as the enterohepatic circulation. In the liver, 50 to 65% remain and are used to synthesize protein. Nitrogen-containing compounds and form purine or pyrimidine bases. In some cases, they may be converted to energy. The liver regulates the amino acid levels in the blood. The amino acids that do not stay in the liver pass through and are transported to the rest of the body to be taken up and utilized by other cells. Most branched-chain amino acids pass through the liver. Amino acids are unique because they contain nitrogen. Several things can happen to nitrogen. First, it can remain on the molecule and be incorporated into the product that cell is making, for example, a polypeptide. The nitrogen may be transaminated. In other words, the amine group is transferred to another carbon skeleton to form a new amino acid. An example would be the transfer of the amine from the non-essential amino acid, alanine, to alpha-ketoglutarate acid to make glutamic acid, another non-essential amino acid. The water-soluble vitamin B6 is needed for this process. The amine group may be removed from the amino acid in a process known as deamination. This process is used for the excretion of the nitrogen, and the carbon skeleton is used to produce energy. Again, vitamin B6 is needed for this process. The nitrogen removed from amino acids is excreted via different routes. Most familiar path is urine, where most of the nitrogen is in the form of urea. Nitrogen is also excreted in the feces, skin, hair, and nails. In skin, hair, and nails, nitrogen is bound to protein, as this is the building block of each. Just as some plastics can be recycled to make new products, amino acids are recycled to make new proteins. As all cells in the body continually break down proteins and build new ones, a process referred to as protein turnover. Every day, over 250 grams of protein in your body are dismantled and 250 grams of new protein are built. To form these new proteins, amino acids from food and those from protein destruction are placed into a pool. Though it is not a literal pool where an amino acid is required to build another protein, it can be acquired from the additional amino acids that exist within the body. Amino acids are used not only to build proteins but also to build other biological molecules containing nitrogen, such as DNA and RNA, and to some extent to produce energy. It is critical to maintaining amino acid levels within this cellular pool by consuming high-quality proteins in the diet, or the amino acids needed for building new proteins will be obtained by increasing protein destruction from other tissues within the body, especially in the muscles. This amino acid pool is less than 1% of total body protein content. Thus, the body does not store protein as it does with carbohydrates and lipids.
It Process of digestion for fat begins in the mouth. Hard fats begins to melt as it reaches the body temperature. At the base of the tongue, there is a sublingual salivary gland that releases an enzyme called lingolipase. In the stomach, there is very little digestion. In the small intestine, it is where most of fat digestion occurs. As chyme enters into the duodenum, fat stimulates the release of enterogestrone, which decreases the motility and regulates the flow of the chyme. Fats in the duodenum stimulates the secretion of the hormone cholecystokinin, which signals the gallbladder to release bile acids in the common duct and into the intestine. The end product of lipid hydrolysis that are presented for absorption include fatty acid, glycerol, and monoglycerides.
Carbohydrate, protein, and fat enter a common pathway to yield energy. These energy-releasing reactions are dependent upon a variety of enzyme systems within the body, which in turn depend on the exogenous supplies of amino acids, vitamins, minerals, as well as upon the maintenance of a sufficient water supply, which is the circulation medium for all reactions.
Functions of potassium. It helps maintain fluid levels in the body and regulates the movement of nutrient and waste products in and out of cells, and also helps muscle to contract and nerve cells to respond. Functions of phosphorus. It serves as a structural component and is involved in a variety of metabolic processes. Functions of iron. It is necessary for the hemoglobin formation. It is an active component of tissue enzymes involved in the conversion of beta-carotene to vitamin A. Functions of zinc. It plays an important role in nucleic acid metabolism, protein synthesis, and cells and tissue growth. Functions of copper. It plays a role in energy production and making red blood cells and maintaining nerve cells in the immune system, and also helps the body for collagen and absorb iron.
To continue, calcium helps in the bone and teeth formation, muscular contraction, nerve transmission, and blood coagulation. Manganese serves as a catalyst for some enzymes and has a role in formation of urea, increases storage of thiamine, and is needed for bone development and aids in clotting and transporting of blood. Magnesium promotes the conduction of nerve impulse, allows normal muscular contraction, increases the stability of calcium in tooth enamel, and it also influences the secretion of thyroxine and the maintenance of BMR. Selenium prevents the effects of vitamin E deficiency, acts as an antioxidant, and is involved in metabolism of thyroid hormones and in slowing down of hardening of tissues. And lastly, sodium maintains the fluid acid-base balance, and it also maintains the normal muscle irritability or excitability. And that ends our presentation. Thank you.